time last year, I built and uploaded the video of my camping chuck box. A year's passed and I've got a lot of people that have asked me for plans, and I didn't have any. I built it on the fly. I basically started with the Coleman stove and I built it up. So what I want to do is I want to take this time to kind of show you the ins and outs of my camping chuck box and kind of show you how I constructed it. So let me show you the inside. So the first thing I did when I started this project was pick a nice substrate. And I think Baltic birch is a nice substrate. It's a very tight veneered plywood. And I thought it would hold up well in the elements, and that's why I chose it. Plus I like Baltic birch anyways, I'm kind of biased. After that, I went out to Academy and I bought pretty much a generic Coleman 2-burner stove. And the reason why I chose this one other than the other ones is because this thing's been out for like 20, 30, 40, 50 years. I don't even know, it's older than me. So I figured if it broke, it would fit right in the same slot where I built the chuck box. So hopefully the chuck box outlasts the Coleman stove. The second thing I did was, we already had this, was our Coleman lantern. And I put this right next to the stove on my workbench. And I basically wanted to be obviously deep enough to hold 2 propanes, but also wide enough to hold the lantern. After that, I basically built up. You know, I wanted my pots to be up here, so I got a pot setup with 3 or 4 pots that would fit right here, and they fit perfectly. After that, you know, I just kind of went up there and made some 2 drawers and stuff for our silverware and just for odds and ends. But that's pretty much it how I planned it. I mean, it literally took, you know, one night kind of planning it. And what I did is I measured from here to there. I added the 1/2-inch plywood and I added some gaps in case, you know, I didn't measure correctly. I was covering myself there. But that's basically it. You know, the bottom's still 1/2-inch plywood. Everything is rabbited and dadoed. All these are glued and brad nailed in there. That's all it's holding is glue and brad nails. Some of these compartments do slide out. I made them so they can slide out, and they're actually pretty friction tight. But I just leave them in there. Even my drawer here, for some reason I decided to make it versatile where I can slide it out. And it's obviously the moisture got to it and it's not coming out. But that's it, man. Glue and brad nails and a lot of measuring. You got to first find out what you need inside your chuck box, and that's how I started. Secondly, you know, I wanted some paper towel holder, somewhere to put our utensils as far as cooking. And then over here, honestly, I didn't even know what to put over there. I made 2 shelves, and then we put our spices, and I put our lights over there. But other than that, let me take you around as far as the hardware that's on this chuck box. So the hardware I use for the top table is just your typical piano hinge. I got these from Lowe's, and I cut them in half, and you can tell I didn't cut them very well. But that's all I used here, and just used little 3/8" screws. I did run into a problem here. Since I am using 1/2-inch plywood to keep the weight down, my screws actually went through just barely on the other side. So what I had to do, individual screws, I had to file them down to make them a little smaller. But that's pretty much it for the top. Let me take you to the sides. So I ended up using the same hardware for the sides. I used piano hinges like I did for the top. And the reason I did that is because these come in, I don't know, 30 to 60-inch increments. And I only had to buy 2 of them, and I cut it in half. Plus, it's pretty stable through the top to the bottom. As far as the actual handles to carry this thing, I use Gate. Go to the Gate department in Lowe's and get those handles. They're pretty solid. Well, guys, hopefully I answered the questions you had this past year about how I constructed my camping chuck box. And again, I apologize that I didn't have the time to sit down and construct some nice detailed plans for you guys. I wish I could have, but I didn't. However, that being said, I don't think there is just one generic camping chuck box out there, and there shouldn't be. Mine's unique to myself and to my camping supplies. Again, I challenge you guys out there to sit down and go over your camping supply stuff, measure from the ground up what you want to have in your camping chuck box, and I promise you, your camping chuck box will turn out like this. Because again, this one's unique to me, not to anybody else. So again, guys, I appreciate your time watching this video, and hopefully again, you know how to construct a camping chuck box like mine. Until next time, guys, be safe in the shop.